Hello YouTube, welcome to this channel again. Today we're gonna talk about an American serial killer, so let's begin. Hope you like it.
Where's your emergency?
When it comes to serial killers, those with American nationality are the most dangerous. They are even in the top 10. This time we will talk about one of them, which inspired a book writer who was also a descendant of the killer. So the book is called Blood's Dance. Herman Webster Mudgett, aka Dr. Henry Howard Holmes, is born in May 16, 1860 and died in May 7, 1896. He is an American serial killer. Holmes is often considered the first American serial killer. Mudgett was born in Gilmanton, New Hampshire. His parents, Levi Horton Mudgett and Theodate Page Price, were both descendants of early settlers in this area. When they were children, his father was an alcoholic, while his mother was a devout Methodist. He claims that as a child, children in his class would bring to scare him to touch the skeletons. Instead of being afraid, he was fascinated by death. He then tortured the animals. Mudgett graduated as a pharmacist's assistant and later fabricated a fake degree from the University of Michigan's medical department in 1884 in order to practice as a doctor. While studying there, Mudgett steals bodies from the lab and disfigures them, then claims that the people were killed accidentally in order to get insurance money on policies. After graduation, he moved to Chicago to pursue a career in pharmaceuticals. As a young man, he took the name H. H. Holmes and became involved in several nebulous companies, real estate and promotional businesses. On July 4, 1878, Holmes married Clara Lovering in Alton, New Hampshire. Their son, Robert Lovering Mudgett, was born on February 3, 1880. On January 28, 1887, while still married to Clara, Holmes married Myrta Belknap in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The newlyweds had a daughter, Lucy Theodate Holmes, who was born on July 4, 1889. Holmes lives with Myrta and Lucy in Wilmette, Illinois, and spends most of his time in Chicago for work. In 1886, Holmes became an assistant in Dr. Holton's pharmacy. After only a few months, Holmes appeared to be the perfect assistant and was very much liked by Mrs. Holton, whose business was growing and who made him her manager. In 1887, after her husband's death, Mrs. Holton sold the business to Holmes. When Mrs. Holton hires a lawyer to sue Holmes for not paying his bills, she mysteriously disappears. Later, Holmes bought a piece of land across the street from the pharmacy, where he built a 3-level building that the locals referred to as a castle. This building opened as a hotel for the 1893 World's Fair, with part of the structure used for commercial purposes. The construction includes hundreds of windowless rooms with doors opening onto brick walls, corridors with strange angles, staircases leading nowhere, trapdoors, doors opening only from the outside, gas pipes, and a host of strange but labyrinthine constructions. Holmes changes builders several times in order to be the only one to fully understand the layout of the house, and thus reduce the chances of being reported to the police. After the completion of the hotel, Holmes chooses his victims, mainly women among his employees. His victims also included friends of his, as well as tourists who came to the hotel for refuge. Holmes tortured and then killed them. Some of the victims are locked in soundproof rooms equipped with gas lines, which allows their killer to asphyxiate them at any time. Other victims are locked in a huge soundproof safe near his office, where he would slowly suffocate them. The bodies of the victims are dumped directly through a secret chute into the basement, where some are meticulously dissected, skinned, and then made into skeleton models to be sold to medical schools. Holmes also cremated some of the bodies or placed them in places used to produce leather for destruction. In January 1894, under the name of Henry Howard, he married Georgina York in Denver in order to appropriate her fortune. His mistress and accomplice, Minnie Williams, was a witness at the wedding. The honeymoon takes place in Texas, where Holmes buys horse wagons with false documents. Back in Chicago, he kills his accomplice, Minnie Williams. For the horse theft, he was arrested in St. Louis in July 1894 under the name of Howard. His wife bails him out. In Philadelphia, he sets up a new insurance scam with a former accomplice, Benjamin Peterzel. He tricks Peterzel into believing that faking his death would allow them to collect a large sum of life insurance. When the office explodes, Peterzel's shared body is actually there. Peterzel's daughter recognizes her father's disfigured face, but his wife still believes that her husband is still alive. Holmes sent Peterzel's wife to New York, where he says her husband is hiding. He lives with 3 of the Peterzel's children, Alice 14, Nellie 11, and Howard 8. He kills little Howard in Indianapolis and the teenagers in Toronto. Holmes is denounced by Marion H. Bett, a cellmate who has not touched his part in the elaboration of the plan and refused to the police his real name. He was arrested on November 17, 1894 in Boston. He was given the choice of being tried in Texas for horse theft, where he faced hanging, or in Philadelphia for insurance fraud. Holmes chose the second option and pleaded guilty. Detective Jayer traces Holmes' journey over the 8 last months and discovers the bodies of Alice and Nellie and the charred remains of Howard. Holmes is finally charged with the murder of Peterzel and his 3 children. He is sentenced to death. For its part, the Chicago court is fighting to be able to try Holmes and his crimes in the city. The journalists and the police begin by investigating the castle, but no proof is found to convict Holmes in Chicago. Later, the janitor of the castle informs the police that he was never allowed to clean upper floors. The investigators begin to investigate and eventually discover Holmes' methods of execution and his way of making the bodies disappear. On August 19, 1895, a fire of unknown origin destroyed the building. Currently, the site is occupied by the United States Postal Service. The number of Holmes victims is estimated to be between 20 and 100, with a possibility of 200. After his conviction, Holmes confessed to 27 murders in Chicago, Indianapolis, and Toronto, as well as 6 attempted murders. Holmes was paid $7,500, about $200,000 today, by Hearst newspapers for his confession. Holmes then gave various conflicting accounts of his life, first claiming to be innocent, then that he was possessed by Satan. On May 7, 1896, Holmes was hanged in the Moyamensing Jail, also known as the Philadelphia County Jail. At the time of being hanged, Holmes showed no signs of fear, anxiety, or depression. The condemned man thus takes more than 15 minutes to die and is pronounced dead 20 minutes after being hanged. Holmes' last wish was that his body to be set in concrete so that no one could come and mutilate him as he had done to his victims. What do you think about his explanation? What is the most credible? What do you think about that story? So this is the end of the video. I hope you liked it and tell me in the comment what you think about it. So I see you next week for a new video. Goodbye.